Come get some. Beware,
IGN Game Scoop.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me right now is Greg Miller.
Hi.
Colin Moriarty.
Hello.
Brian Altano. And we all have our PS4s now.
Yep.
Came out last Friday. We took it home. We played them all weekend. What do we think?
It's a fine machine. I love it. I'm going to pretend like this is my first weekend with the PS4.
You've had many weekends.
It's a fantastic machine, and I'm not saying that the game library might not be what everyone wants. I'm up to snuff.
This is the thing.
But the machine itself is, like I've been saying, almost very un-PlayStation. It's fast and snappy. It does all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah, it's very weird. Like when you're like going in, I'm like, how do I do this thing that I used to have to dig into the bowels of the XMB to figure out? It's just right there.
In the doldrums.
Yeah, in the doldrums of the XMB.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about is, makes sense, right? That the game library is not there. But for me, like, it's the exciting thing of being able, like, I'm in love with streaming. Like, I was on Twitch all weekend long, just sitting there, Portillo on my lap, talking to kids as I played Assassin's Creed or screw around with DC Universe Online. I was like, yeah, it's great. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want.
That was fun. That was your last slice of alone time, too.
Yep, no,
and now it's gone.
Now everybody in the world is watching you play games.
I don't have to talk to them.
And this is a major problem because now, Greg's big TV's in the living room and I'm just trying to make my soft-boiled eggs and I can't even talk or say anything, uncouth because...
I was going to say, Colin is a full-blown racist.
Damon, GameScoop has become coupled therapy.
But I don't know. I'm really, we've had the machine, but we haven't really been able to play the PlayStation Network and all those kinds of things. And the PlayStation Store... The PlayStation Store is awesome. It's the same one on PS3, but it actually works. And so
it just looks like the one on PS3. It works. It's on a different infrastructure. That's why it works. It's fast.
It's very cool.
Very, very happy.
Remote play is neat.
Yeah, I think gone are the days of hey, it's me and my Mario 64, the greatest game ever. It's more about there are 100 little things I notice constantly where I'm like, man, this is really awesome. My fiance was in the other room and she's like, that's really loud. And I was like, let me try something. And I took my headphones and I plugged it into my controller. And I heard the entire game audio wirelessly through my headphones. My headphones that just came with my iPhone. This wasn't any special Sony proprietary bullshit here. And I really dug it for that. Little things really like that. The controller's wonderful. The interface is really fast, as you guys said. I don't really feel like there's one A+ launch game right now, but there's 10 B+, and I think that kind of makes up for it. Throughout the weekend, at any given time, I was switching through 7 or 8 different games, enjoying all of them. I played Assassin's Creed, I played Need for Speed, which I really enjoy. Killzone didn't grab me, but I could see why people are getting into it. And Knack, I actually enjoyed more than I thought I would, in its sort of challenging old school approach to game design. It felt like a PS1 game, but it looked like a Pixar movie. So it kind of had me going.
Did you get on that Resogun?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm not good at it, but I love it. Humans are dying left and right. It's save the fucking thing, and I'm like, okay, we're in. He's dead by the time I get there. He's very dead. But
I really like the system. This is the first time I've gotten a PlayStation at launch.
Me too.
I'm really happy with it. I look forward to having games to play on it. That's the thing. I play a lot of Resogun, but it's not the sort of thing where I'm going to sit there for hours and play.
Sure.
If I had waited to play Assassin's Creed 4, that would be the game that I'd be like.
And see, that's the whole thing. Me and Brian had gone and done commentaries, and once I played it on PS4 and used the map and the pinch and the zoom, I was like, I gotta wait. And it was so tough, but now that I'm there, I'm so happy I did.
It's really nice. I will say that I do feel like the PS4 is kind of a big failure right now as a multimedia device. Outside of
Netflix and stuff?
Well, so Netflix and Amazon, those are kind of what to be expected, right? But I just as a test, I took a USB stick and I put a JPEG and an MP3 and an AVI video on it.
It doesn't play MP3s.
Plugged it in. It didn't even know that I had something plugged in there. It didn't even say, this isn't here.
Well, I mean, to that credit, when they patch that in, you're going to have to do that, but have a PS4 folder, and inside that folder have music in all caps folder, and
sure, it just feels to have one of the most prominent multimedia devices of the decade not be able to do something as simple as look at a JPEG. This is the thing though. I was on the radio today talking to some people about this, and they were pissing and moaning about that too, and I'm like, I think fixing the problems that they had with the PS3 meant that they had to start in a different place here. You know what I mean? From the very get-go, right? They've been we're focused on games and the gamers, and this is our statement right now. You know, obviously, people thought that was weird, and Shuhei tweeted, okay, sorry, we don't have MP3s at launch.
This is what we went off of what you guys said. We'll look into this. Day one, everything like at that New York event when I was like, oh, that's cool. Can I accept all of my friend requests at once or deny them all? And they're like, not on day one.
Not yet.
No, they're not. Can I just say, period, if you want my real name, you have it? Not on day one. But like, they're looking at all that.
And I guess that's still the old school gamer in me is getting used to like the new kind of infrastructure of these things where they are living, breathing entities that go on for. Right. It's not like you open up the box and it doesn't work because otherwise that's an Xbox One and it doesn't do anything yet. But that day it does, and a month later it might be completely different. Like we look at what the 360 looked like at launch with like the blades and stuff like that versus what it landed on now. I mean, it's night and day. So
this isn't to paint like a completely rosy picture of what's going on with the PlayStation 4. Obviously, it launches, it's got a 0.4% failure rate, but on top of that, even with mine working, right? Like, you've got a name request. Okay, I'll get it. I've got 100 of them. I approve 2, and then they're all blank. And then if you want to approve real friends, it's like it's still a pain in the ass. I'm using the Vita, but that's almost not a great solution.
I did notice that on the homepage, I was flicking through my game library, and it was like Lego Marvel, Lego Marvel.
And then it was just like
15 in a row, blank boxes. But again, all that stuff works itself out in time.
I mean, the fact that the PSN didn't immediately explode with a million people trying to access it, that's pretty impressive based on how crappy it was.
I was surprised to see a lack of a dedicated YouTube app.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that seemed like a big oversight to miss at launch. I went to watch an IGN video on the browser.
IGN app coming soon.
I was going to say, did you find the missing IGN app weird too?
That was obviously, we'll get to that next. But yeah, just their web browser seemed very clunky. Like there might be better ways to do it. Well, I noticed did you guys use the PlayStation app at all?
From the phone.
I heard it's good.
It's cool. It kind of like logs you out every few minutes, so you have to kind of reconnect it all the time.
One of my roommates, Mike, pointed this out that when you're going in to type someone a message, if you have it sunk, you can hit that button. You can turn on the app and just type there like you're typing a text message.
See, that's
it all
cool.
appears on screen. Anytime there's a box to fill in text, you can use it as second screen device. And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I noticed that for typing in game codes and stuff like that. To download codes, you just use your phone, and it's so much faster than.
Yeah, I mean, for what they've done on day one, I'm super impressed after 6 years of watching them fail at everything. It's like, whoa, you guys listened.
Yeah, that's the startling thing about it is that it is pretty easy to paint a rosy picture actually of PS4 because it's pretty fucking awesome. Like that's what's so surprising about it is that, like Greg said, we've covered PlayStation for a long time and it's just been sometimes painful. Like watching this company make really unintuitive and strange decisions with a glut of games they don't support and all those kinds of things. And I understand people are disappointed with the launch library a little bit, but let's get a little context. Like, I want people to tell me the last time a console launched and it had Call of Duty and Battlefield and Assassin's Creed and a Killzone and all of the and a Need for Speed and all. Like, give me a break. The library's fine. Like, but back when we bought N64, we had Mario and Pilot Wings for 2 months. And that was it. Like,
the Wii U launch was with an Assassin's Creed and a Call of Duty and all those.
But like these are not the full Assassin's Creed is probably the same. But Call of Duty, no one's playing that game on Wii U.
No.
This is a really fantastic third-party supported launch, comparable in number to PS2, but definitely better in quality than the PS2s. We had a lot of. Greg and I was talking about Smuggler's Run, but there was a lot of From Software games on PS2's launch. There was obviously Fantavision's the first-party game that was probably my favorite game that came out at launch, but. This is a really strong launch library, comparable, I think, most to Vita in quality. Now, of course, Vita, the sales of the hardware has not gone at all, even though the quality of the software is there. So we have to see. But 1 million sold in 24 hours in one territory, and the territory they were losing in is significant. And people that were saying that console gaming is dead or dying, I laugh so hard at that. I know people were trying to read into even the Wii U's really soft numbers. We've talked about this on GameScoop before, like. Wii U is selling really bad. It sold well, right away, 500,000, I think, in the U.S. in the first week or something like that, which is great. But pretty poor sales after that. I think 4 million worldwide, and everyone kind of extrapolated from that. Like, is console gaming dead? Do people not really care? No, clearly they care. And what I'm most interested in now is how Xbox One does and how PS4 does with a long tail if people can find them and how these things sell. I think console gaming is alive and well for now, and I think Sony's actually being smart about limiting its first-party releases for now and stringing them along so that they can support each one of them because they just shit these games out sometimes.
You can do that when you have such a strong third-party library. Like, that's the problem. Some console developers go, hey, we have one first-party game, another one in 6 months. That'll be fine, right? And it's like, no, you need that whole army beneath you. And I got to say, 1080p is kind of a thing. kind of like want to keep playing games like that. I don't know. I'm going to have my whole new Xbox experience with my Xbox One this weekend. Yeah. See if it's anything like the weekend I just spent. When I left for work this morning, I walked by my PS4 and I was like, man, I'm kind of going to miss that thing.
Yeah, you're right. That's all I want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see if this whole 720, 1080 thing plays out, but I'm kind of spoiled right now.
Yeah, it's stuff. I turned on my PS3 just to sync cloud save from Sound Shapes. And just playing with the DualShock 3, I was like, oh man, like this is a little rough. Like it feels.
Thank you, sir.
So used to it. How many thousands of hours did we play with that thing? And it just felt cheaper and like it was just weird. Like just with a little time with PS4, I'm like, I'm going to go back to it because Final Fantasy X HD is going to be there, and Tales of Exilia 2, and a few other games, Castlevania. Yeah, the Last of Us DLC, but you almost don't want to go back to that now. Yeah, you're going to have to, but you almost don't want to.
I like the new controller a lot. The only weird thing is the option button. It's kind of in a weird spot. It's like it's directly touching the touchpad there, right? So like when I try to hit it, I'll sometimes hit the touchpad. I also think it's weird that it's not called a start button. I get that there's no reason to have a dedicated button for starting a game, but every controller since the NES has had one, right?
Yeah.
Like 30 years of game controllers.
That broke me all weekend where I was like, oh man, I should just pause this. Yeah. Home, option, giant touch square, thing on the left. No, that's share. I don't want to share that I want to pause. I want to option to, okay, got it, great. It was very confusing. And, we'll get it over time, but it totally threw me off.
Well, it's like when Xbox changed select to back, and like that was, to me, that was a weird thing too. And that made more sense and became.
It still makes no sense why that's called the back button.
No, that was going back. No, I think it was designed to be like, the select button had no functionality. There were games, especially in the NES era, I was like, well, this game doesn't do anything.
The title's like, I have to select, one or two players.
Usually,
button.
Yeah, you could just press down. Instead, it was like, select player 2. Can I just press down?
Yeah, it was like, we're going to make you use the select button here. And some random games it would pause the game for you, but other than that, so you just get rid of it. I think it's just there for symmetry, and you need on our white controllers we have those like special IGN white controllers that we got last week that doesn't even say anything on them. It's cool. It's just two buttons and it's nice and clean. It's a great system. Now I want to see like what happens to it in 6 months. I want to see how it does over the long term. But I'm super impressed with it. This is the most dynamic console ever released. Now like whether Xbox One will do it better, it probably will actually in a lot of ways because of their pedigree. But like this is a new era, for game consoles, and even though I don't care about streaming, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Like it's cool that it's really cool. It's there that it's cool that it's there.
I'm excited to start doing that. I was thinking about this weekend, but like I wasn't really doing anything that I felt was shareable. Yeah, I'm just playing my games like normal. But like I'm looking forward to that moment when I get a crazy headshot and I'm like, oh my god, that was awesome. I can share that.
It's just weird how much more of it than a game console it is, and we used to have these static experiences with just the games, and it, and Xbox 360 and PS3 started to change that a lot, but now it's just a whole nother thing. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. I think.
I was struck by how easy it was to set up. Like, it was
oh my god,
right? Totally painless.
So my favorite part of that process was I unplugged my PS3 and plugged in my PS4. With the same exact cables. I didn't have to move my entertainment center. So I just, now anytime I want it, I'm like, I really got to play PS3 again. I will just swap those two out. There's not like a whole thing. I don't know what it's like with Xbox One, but I have a feeling with that giant clunky power cube that I'm going to have to shove behind somewhere. I'm going to have to pull everything out, put everything back in. It was so much easier. Yeah. Logged it in my profile in like 2 seconds. I was playing games under my account.
Yeah, like we were saying, like I'm so used to seeing Sony screwed up that like I kept waiting for all right, now I'm logged in. Let's see how this Facebook works. And I'm like, oh, I haven't updated my profile pic and I want it from Twitter. So is that going to? And it's like, oh, bam, just happening. And like the only thing is, I got to Twitch and I couldn't stream to Twitch immediately. And I kept getting this code, and I'm like, well, whatever. And I googled the code. There was a kid who had the same problem, and he had a solution right underneath it. And I was like, oh wow, this is okay. This is weird. It's all actually working for a change.
It's neat. Now I want to see, now that these consoles do different things and are really very dynamic, I want to see how Sony and Microsoft compete and like work against each other to one up each other over the years, because these things are going to be very different in 2 or 3 years than they are even now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think a lot of that is going to be how they feed off each other and compete with each other, because they're going after the same audience, and that audience so obviously is hungry based on these sales numbers. If they could manufacture more than 1 million consoles, they would have sold them. Like that's insane.
Ty walked into a GameStop Sunday morning and bought one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's right.
Like 10 ready to go on the shelf.
That's so awesome. Like I wish I had, like when I bought my Wii in 2000, I couldn't find one until like August of 2007.
Yeah.
And when I bought it, I was like, bought it, and I saw another one after a few months later, and I bought that one too. Just so I can give it to someone in my family or whatever. It's like I hope people don't have to go through that kind of scarcity. That sucks. But yeah, so I'm happy people are already. I'm hearing things of people not being able to find anywhere they go. But
it's also it's so cool that it comes with you get your free trial of PS Plus, and then you get 2 games for free, and one of them is awesome.
And you get $10.
Yeah, and you get $10. Just
even like the box even has a handle on it, so like everything is even easier. Even down to like on Friday, 16 people at IGN got PS4s. We all just walked out like we're holding briefcases, leaving a day at work, and it's.
Well, I enjoyed that Mike Pereira tried to hide his when he got on the train, so he walked out of the building with the PS4 in a PlayStation bag with then a burlap bag over the top. And I'm like, you're not hiding from anyone what you're carrying.
I just had mine in my Amazon box that it came in.
Yeah.
And then our train broke down.
Oh, shit.
Like in the Sunset.
The San Francisco Muni broke down?
Yeah. Can you believe it? So I just like got out of the train. I was like not even going to get mad about it. I just broke down my box, threw it in someone's garbage can or someone's recycling can, and just walked down the street with this little briefcase, 25 blocks.
Yeah.
Some guy's like, "Oh, you got the new PlayStation?" I'm like, "It's right here.
I will murder you if you come near me, sir. I don't want to kill you.
It's full of guns.
So yeah, sounds like we all really enjoyed our PS4. It's only the first of many weekends.
Yeah.
That we'll be spending with the PS4.
Yes. And Rezo again.
Viewers, let us know how you are finding your PlayStation 4. Let us know in the comments and on Twitter, and stay tuned for more from IGN Gamescoop.